Hey guys, welcome to my Shred build guide. That's right, Shred is back, baby. And it is slicing and dicing as quick as ever. If you've ever done a Shred build before, you know what it's like. Zooming through pack to pack and annihilating everything. This build is fully capable of all Torment 12 content. I have even killed the Echo of Mephisto on T12, as well as pushed Pit up to 125, and I could probably go a little bit further as I ended with about 4 or 5 minutes to spare. And that is all just using self-found basic gear. Let's get into how this build works. So the core of the build is actually relying on the Storm Shepherd set. The 2-piece set is all we really need, but the 5-piece set you'll use if you aren't lucky enough yet to have a Seal of the Diamond Mind. If you have one of those, that's great. You can throw on 4-piece of the Red Wolf since the 5-set bonus is actually better there. But if you don't, no big worries. Just go ahead and use a regular 6-slot seal and grab yourself either a damage thing like Banished Lords or perhaps a Endurant Faith if you want to stay alive. But since I do have this, I will use it. It is only slightly more damage. Don't worry, you're not missing out if you don't have it. But the big bonus is the 2-set Storm bonus. So as you can see, casting a Storm skill consumes all available spirit, blah, 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 blah. 40% damage bonus. That's cool. But here's the trick. It stacks as much as you could possibly drain your resource in 2 seconds. Shred naturally has an incredibly fast attack rate, and so you can drain it as fast as you can generate it. And that's the trick to the build. You generate a lot of resource, and then you spend it as quickly as you're generating it. The ways that we're going to do this are, of course, using the classic Tybalt's Will technique, paired with multiple unstoppable sources, but mostly through the Blood Howl. Cats trying to make a video over here. Anyway, mostly we're doing this through the Malefic Crescent, giving me the Unstoppable from the Blood Howl. But you could also just use it via the Earthen Bulwark. Additionally, we're rolling resource generation on multiple of our items as possible. Both my rings here have it. So that we are generating a lot of resource via Tybalt's Will. Let me break down the rest of the gear here. So I'm rocking Air of Perdition, pretty much best in slot. Not much to say there. You could go for more Resolve stacks, and you'll see obviously why. Everybody's using the Glynn's Anvil Resolve stack damage reduction. It is perhaps the most ridiculous way to get tanky in this game, and hopefully they'll patch it. For now, everybody's got to use it if you can. I only have 30-some Resolve stacks, and it's still massively impactful. I could get a lot more if I were to get some more, if I were to find a new pair of Tybalts, and I could put some Resolve stacks on there. As for gloves, I'm using while fortified damage, crushing. You really want to just get multipliers there for vulnerable, crit damage, lightning damage, all damage, those kind of things. Pants, you have to use Tybalts. You don't have any slots for charms, so it's going to have to be in your actual leg slots. These can be difficult to get, so best way to find them is probably through the cube. Just keep making pants via removing affixes down to a white and then making it a unique. You want mostly defensives on there, as you can see, armor life, all res. Boots, you have a couple options on your boots. If you want more resolve generation, you do want the resolve generating aspect, but I for now have the extra damage to unstoppable enemies because I was pushing pits just now. Obviously, waxing gibbous for the weapon. It is the shred weapon. Honestly, it's not that great. It's a little bit better than a 50% damage multiplier most of the time, which is good. It's passable. Offhand, I'm using 60% bonus to hindered or weakened. You could also use base form bonus, but that doesn't benefit for your lightning storm, which is also supplemental damage in the build. You have to use Dirge of Erida, but this is so far has eluded me as a decent drop. I have a nice 26% poison damage, which is just great because I do none of that. So there's a lot more potential if I can get a better ring here. I am using Ring of Starless Skies. Obviously, we don't need the resource cost reduction. It doesn't really affect anything, but it does still work so that you're getting that 50% damage multiplier. Mostly, I'm using it to get crit capped and attack speed capped. And of course, the Blood Howl Amulet, Malefic Crescent, with the now you can swap this with your boots, obviously. Your storm skills make enemies vulnerable, and then you do up to 30% more damage to vulnerable enemies. Just a nice 30% multiplier. So that's the gear. Obviously, for the charms, I did go over what you want. Just a 5-piece storm set should do the trick with +3 to storm, nature, werewolf. Any of those really work. For the spirit boons, I'm rocking prickle skin for damage and damage raven wrath. And I have been kind of swapping back and forth here. The extra spirit is probably the best use here. Down here, I'm using both of these for the 10% damage multiplier, and then the 15% increased cast speed. You could switch to the ultimate if you want to mix any different ultimate. I'll get to the ultimates here in a second. Skill tree. As you can see, I have maxed out Shred, and I put final remaining points into Lightning Storm, which I think ends up being 14 points. You do toggle this on and just kind of toggle and forget. You want these upgrades, as you can see here. I don't really have to go into why. It's mostly a passive damage buff and just another way to keep your resource going. Shred is, of course, your main damage source. You definitely need to have the Storm conversion, as we are using the Storm set. You have the option to heal or berserking. We get berserking through Bloodhouse, so we don't need berserking. And then, obviously, more cast speed, because we want to cast as fast as we're generating resource. You can try the resource generation one here if your resource generation isn't as good yet. Something to consider. You want to make it so that every time you're casting Shred, you're as close to 80 resource as possible, is the aim there. Maxed out Earthen Bulwark. We're not even casting it, but we're proccing it very quickly via the rune. And then I have the Resolve stacks. This is my primary generation of Resolve stacks, as well as Fortify up here. So this is both Resolve, Fortify, and Massive Defense. It's really just an all-in-one defensive fix. I do have Cyclone Armor maxed out. You do not need to have it on your bar, but I find it helpful. It's just another way to pull people in via the upgrade down here. And of course, you just need 1 point in Bloodhowl with the Unstoppable for the Tybalt's Will. And I have the heal and, of course, the extra damage. So I do have Wolves here with the extra attack speed. You may not need that to get attack speed cap, depending upon your gear. That's just what that's doing for me. Hurricane, another toggle ability. Both the Hurricane and the Lightning Storm, I kind of just toggle and forget, but you toggle them off and then back on again so that you can benefit from their snapshotting mechanics where they'll get the big buff from your spirit spending via the Storm set. Lastly, Ultimate. So I have a few different things I've mixed around with the Ultimate. Currently I'm using Petrify, just 1 point in. It does refill my spirit when I cast it and when it procs. This is the main reason I'm using Petrify, is because I'm using the rune to generate more Petrifies so that I'm petrifying every 20 attacks with Shred. So it's actually pretty quick that you get free Petrifies, refills your spirit, and gives you more overcapped Resolve. So it's just a nice little damage bonus. You use Cataclysm if you want. It's hard to get a lot of benefit out of Cataclysm, but it does do a lot of damage, and it'll all benefit from all your Storm stuff. But without the Spirit Boon to keep it going, it doesn't have a lot of uptime. Lastly, you could use the unique totem that lets you Grizzly Rage in werewolf form, which is also very effective. Going into Paragon here, I'm using Earth and Sky, Fang and Claw, Spirit, Werewolf, and Fulminate. For the boards, I have Ancestral Guidance, Lust for Carnage, Constricting Tendrils, and Thunderstruck. That's pretty much it, guys. Thanks for watching. I'll put together a planner and add it in the description here shortly. If you have any input or suggestions, I'm happy to hear them. Thanks, guys.